so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness which creates and animates all things. After years of exploring this awe-inspiring truth on this podcast, I'm super excited to announce that we are now going even deeper down the rabbit hole on the new late-night style consciousness-elevating talk show called Optimistic, which features none other than you, the listeners. Optimistic is taped out of the epic spaceship-esque 8-bedroom property we call the Mystic Manor that myself and the rest of the Optimistic crew now navigate reality from in Venice Beach, California. And you are invited to come experience a Mystic Manor immersion week with us. During your week-long stay, you'll enjoy unique workshops, chef-prepared meals, one-on-one time coaching and consulting with me, and even co-creating magic with me as a guest on both Optimistic and an episode of the Positive Head podcast. When I started this, my aim with these immersive retreats was to facilitate the ultimate spiritual upgrade and tune-up, so to speak, for our guests while providing them with one of the most memorable experiences of their lives. And I'm happy to say that as of this recording, every guest at the end of their trip so far has told me that they have had a profound and transformational experience at the Mystic Manor and that they definitely want to come back. All that being said, we only have a limited number of spots available between now and next July. And as of this recording, about half of those spots are already filled. So if there's any part of you that is screaming, yes, I want to come, I feel like I need to be there, go now and book a slot with me to discuss how we can put our heads together and make it happen at calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. I know for some people, there is also that little voice in their head saying, why not? I can't get off work. I can't afford it, and on and on and on. But, really, Henry Ford, I think, said it best. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And I'm confident that where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm personally committed to doing everything in my power, including discounts and payment plans, to get you here if it is something that truly feels like a huge yes for you energetically and like you're meant to be here. Once again, the link to book time to discuss with me is calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. That's spelled calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. All one word, of course. And book in some time and look forward to seeing you soon here at the Mystic Manor.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. I just got back from an absolutely glorious weekend up in Estes Park, Colorado. I attended the 1111 Star Knowledge Conference up there. And wow, just what a beautiful experience it was. And it just got me thinking about when we gather as a community and we share our love and we feel our oneness, how beautiful it is that we can go back to where we live and be able to spread it from there. It's just such a beautiful reminder when we get with our tribe, our people that get us. And I just wanted to encourage all of you to do things that gather you in community so you can get with the people that get you. It feels so good. And what happens is that your heart opens so much and it feels so blissful and so amazing. And I want all of us to be able to have these experiences on a regular basis. And I thought about doing an event before I got pregnant for just this purpose. And maybe it'll come about again at some point in the future. And Alexa was even helping me get it together a bit, but I got pregnant and I let it just completely drop because obviously my body was concerned with doing other things at the time. But maybe one day that will come down the path again. But in the meantime, I encourage you to attend conferences, festivals, hometown gatherings, meetup groups, whatever it is. It feels so good to be with people who get you. And when your heart opens like this, the world around you totally changes. I had some really neat experiences today, which I actually wasn't going to talk about this at all. But after the experiences I had today, I thought, yeah, I kind of have to. I was actually just going to read the Faces of Intention by Wayne Dyer, which I want to get to at some point. But with what happened to me today, which I'll get to, I reconsidered. So first, a little bit about this conference. One of the things I really like about it is that they combine ceremony with the speaking. So there's a ton of great speakers sharing ancient wisdom, knowledge of the star nations, tons of wisdom, light language, combined with ceremony. There's drumming and medicine songs played in between each speaker. There was a beautiful closing ceremony on Monday, 11/11. And I just think it's so important that we gather like this and create this immense amount of love that goes out and spreads throughout the entire world, because I don't know if you can feel it, but the energies are getting really intense. And what's happening is we're polarizing. And so the energies, negative, positive, good, bad, whatever you want to call them, either side of the thermometer, no good, no bad, right? All just different sides of the same coin. But it's getting really intense. And so now, more than ever, so important to stay focused on love in every moment and on our oneness. And when we get together like this, we remember. So I have to give a very, very huge thank you to my partner, Brian, because he made this happen for me. I had talked to a girlfriend of mine before this event, and she reminded me about it, and I wasn't planning on going. And I was really disappointed after we got off the phone. A bunch of my friends were going to be there, and I felt like I was really missing out. I get FOMO lots of times. And I was just a little disappointed. And, I kind of just was like, oh, well, whatever, next time. But Brian could see that I was really like, oh, bummer, And I wound up taking the baby to the park, and Brian was like 10 minutes later calling me saying he had bought my tickets and I was going. He was planning on going on his own trip this weekend and said, no big deal. I'll do it next time. You need to go. And so I'm so grateful to him for being such an incredible man. And I just wanted to give him a big, huge thank you. I just wanted y'all to know how wonderful he is and just how grateful I am, because it really was important to me. So many different things happened. The synchronicities also that happen at these events, it's so fun to experience. And it's over and over again. One neat thing that happened, I had come across someone's path who I hadn't seen yet that day. They said hello. I said good morning. And then I realized it's not morning, it's 3 p.m. And so I said, good morning, 3 p.m. or something. I forget what I said about that. But my friend Susie, who was sitting at the desk, she's like, someone just said that like 10 minutes ago, like those exact same words that you just said. I was like, really? Those exact same words? Because it wasn't, I forget the exact words, but it was just something so random that two people would exactly say the same thing. But she said, yeah, 10 minutes ago, literally the exact same thing. And so it got me thinking how interesting our thought forms, our light signatures, they all stick around. And I happened to pick up a thought form that was sticking around in that place. How cool is that? So that got me thinking, wow, how often am I doing that? Picking up other thought forms that were left from other people at another time. We are truly all connected and one. And then immediately after that, we went into a talk where Bliss Prema was talking, and she's going to come on the show with me. I think it's next week. And she led us in some very powerful exercises to reclaim our sovereignty, to understand our oneness, understanding our I am presence. You know, it's so interesting too, when we meet new people in places, in gatherings like this, so often we feel like, I know you. Where do I know you from? We've been here before. And what's beautiful, when you do meet someone who you're just meeting in this lifetime, at this conference, instead of saying it's nice to meet you, everyone says it's nice to see you again. And also, it is understood that everyone there is a brother and a sister. We are all relation. We are all family. We are all one. And that is true whether you're there or not. That is true of all of us. We are all brothers and sisters. And it's so important that we remember this in our daily lives. We are family. We need to treat each other as brothers and sisters. One conversation that came up because of all this intense energy and this polarization, and it happens in certain communities too, and it's sad to see in certain consciousness communities where there's fighting or misunderstandings, and it's all about not respecting another person's beliefs or not allowing other people to have their own opinion. And I think it's really important for us to do that, just to let people think whatever they want to think. It's none of our business what they think, unless they're causing obvious harm, right? But people are entitled to their opinions. So are you. I certainly don't like it when people try to change my opinion, right? So I don't want to do that to another. And if we could all respect each other in this way, oh, how nice would that be? Think about, we wouldn't fight about politics. What? Can we do that this year? Come on, we can. We can allow each other to have our own beliefs. Okay, cool. And even hear each other out. Have a conversation where we listen and accept and let go. It's okay. We can do that in so many different realms. So that's another thing that came up that I wanted to encourage everyone. That is so, so important. This year is going to be a big one. So we need to focus on love at all times. When times start getting really tough, the energy that you want to put in that is love and gratitude. I'll tell you, gratitude gets you through so much. I had a conversation with a girlfriend of mine. We both had experiences with postpartum depression. And what got me through it is gratitude. Because when life is difficult and challenging, remembering all of our blessings and how we are so provided for all the time, remembering that really, really helps to get us out of that hole. It certainly helped me. And so here's what happened to me today, speaking of that. So I was thinking about this experience that I had. I was driving. I don't know how many of you get messages and symbols in the car. I know a lot of you do. For me, my messages come through music, through numbers on license plates. And and just interaction, even on the road. I think it's all a metaphor for life. But so on one of my car rides today, I ran around a lot. The Nako song Mitakuye Oyasin came on. And it's such a beautiful song. And I was singing along and really thinking about what he was saying. And the words I was thinking about was, we are so provided for. And I was just looking around and thinking about all of the blessings surrounding me. Every little thing, the wind, the trees, and the big things like my family. And I got a little choked up and just sent out so much love and gratitude. I was just so appreciative in that moment, and I could feel my heart just expanding and expanding. And so that was a fun ride. So I had dropped my daughter off, and I was going back later to pick her up. And I had the baby with me in the car, and I'm always a lot more careful when I have him. And there was a car coming, and I had enough space to go, but I waited anyway. And I got behind this car, and the license plate said, in Lekek. And I was just kind of flabbergasted, because what in Lekek means is essentially, I am you, you are me. I recognize our oneness. And when I came home and I looked it up because I wanted to learn a little bit more, what I found out that the Lakota version of this Mayan saying is Mitakuye Oyasin. Of course it is. This man who was driving this car also, when I pulled up to see, of course I got to see who's driving the Inlaket car. I pulled up to see, we're at a light really quick, and I couldn't get his attention. I stared at him for a little bit with my big smile, but he didn't see me. But he had white angel wings hanging, feathered, hanging from his rearview mirror. Okay, I told myself I wasn't going to cry. I'm not going to do it. So as we continued down the road, I was sitting at a light, and all of a sudden I see behind me, it wasn't a big deal, but the two cars, both of them were getting out of their car. The car behind me got rear-ended. So just one car. And I just had this beautiful angel synchronicity and blessing from the universe recognizing our oneness. So that was very, very powerful. And that is why I decided to talk about this today, because I want us all to remember that we are so provided for. We are loved. We are one. We are brothers and sisters. We are all family. I want us to get together more. I want us to gather, and I want us to remember. Okay, one more really cool synchronicity before I go today. So, a few months ago, I was actually listening to Julia Cannon on a podcast, and I think this is what I was listening to. But she was talking about our signs and symbols that we see from the universe and how we should trust them, and how often we see these signs and symbols in nature. Well, I was sitting outside under the tree that I've been sitting under for the last 3 years, and I look over at it, and this figure of an ancient, it looked to me like a ancient native. I don't know how else to describe this. He had a headdress, and he was carrying something in his hand, and he was walking sideways. And he just popped out at me. And I was like, whoa, how have I never seen you before? This beautiful spirit. Well, now I don't unsee him. I see him all the time. And a group of us were sitting at lunch over the weekend, and people were sharing pictures of beings that were caught in pictures and in different nature elements and things, all different. And so as I thought of my tree being, the person who was sitting next to me mentioned a tree. And of course, then I brought out my tree being so I could show everyone. And of course, the guy next to me sees it immediately. Some people couldn't quite see it until I pointed it out. But one of the girls said, it's a Kokopelli. Kokopelli is a symbol of fertility. Which, no thanks, I'm done having kids. But she said, also remember, fertility can also be our growth and our abundance. So yes, I'll take that one. And later that evening, I went out to dinner with a woman who I was meeting again for the first time. And she's a beautiful woman, and I'll probably have her on as well. But her name is Connie, and she wrote a book called The Truth Frequency. And we had a beautiful conversation. She does amazing work. Her and her husband, they're filmmakers. And as I was leaving the conference, Connie said, would you like my book? And I was like, yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. She gives me the book, and there's a Kokopelli on it. It's no coincidence that Connie and I wound up in the same car going to dinner, sitting right next to each other, having conversations. We will always be with those who we were supposed to be with. The universe will align you with all the people that resonate with you and that you have things in common with. Because what happened later, we were sitting at another group dinner, and I really liked this one woman who I met. And we were having great conversations. And I showed her this tree being. Turns out she's got Kokopellis all over her purse. So Kokopelli was a theme for me this weekend. Just a beautiful sign and synchronicity. Abundance is in the air, and the universe aligns us with all the right people at all the right times. I think that's it for me today, everyone. I'm going to leave you with a song. This is Nako, Mitakuye Oyasin. Until next time, I love you all.
And if you're feeling the call to come for a week retreat-style Mystic Manor immersion, remember to go now and book your time to speak with me directly about stepping into the optimistic vortex at calendly.com/talkwithbrandon while there are still spots left. Otherwise, I look forward to co-creating magic with you at the Mystic Manor.
That seems to me an easy thing for us to say. I think we could say that and mean it. And I think those are really great words and feelings and intentions, because they all have to do with what nature wants and what spirit wants to happen through us, We're articulating and being present and showing up for that next step, Thank you. We are grateful. We are gathered to be able to receive a greater wisdom so that we might be able to help all living things. That's a prayer.
Mitakuye Oyasin. This is the place for all my relations to bring celebration to meditation, giving thanks for all of creation. We are so provided for. 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 All of the blessings I receive, how could they have been bestowed upon me? So I'll put it all back in the ground, back in the soil where I am found. It all started. Waku Duncan, scan. Something holy moves here on the land. It is my brothers and my sisters' hands. It is the way we make our plans. We don't make them. Well, this is it. What is this? This is Eden. Eden is where I live and where I give my whole being to the Great Spirit. We are waiting. celebration through meditation, giving thanks for all of creation. We are so provided for. We are so